This is lesson 153, the resurrection. It was so early in the morning, the sky was still dark. It was the day after the Sabbath. Mary Magdalene couldn't sleep, so she and her friends made their way to the garden where Jesus was buried. They brought spices along to anoint the body of Jesus, as was accustomed to do for someone you loved. "Without Jesus, my life will never be the same," cried Mary Magdalene as she walked along in the early dark morning. "Jesus was the best friend I ever had," she said, with tears streaming down her face. "Before Jesus changed my life, I felt no one loved me." Then one of the women, Salome, remembered the heavy stone in front of the tomb entrance. "Who will roll it away?" she asked, panic in her voice. "We will never be able to move it." While the women worried about getting into the tomb, there was a great earthquake in the garden. An angel came down from heaven and rolled away the stone, and Jesus was resurrected and walked out of the tomb. But the women were still a good distance away and knew nothing of these events. The angel's face shone like lightning, and his clothing was a brilliant white. The guards were so frightened they fainted and fell on the ground. Then the angel left, and the soldiers ran away in fear. Mary Magdalene couldn't wait to reach the tomb, so she ran ahead of the others. "Oh no," she cried in horror when she had seen the stone had been removed. Then she looked inside the tomb. "Someone has stolen the body of my friend Jesus," she sobbed. "I must hurry and tell Peter and John what has happened." And Mary left the tomb, sadly weeping. When the other women came to the tomb, they hesitated. Who could have rolled away the heavy stone at the entrance of the tomb? "He is gone," they all cried at the same time. Suddenly 2 angels appeared before them, their robes so shining white that the women could hardly look at them. They were terrified and bowed down low before the angels. Then one of the angels said, "Why are you looking among the dead for someone who is alive? Jesus is not here. He has been resurrected by God the Father. Now go and tell his disciples that Jesus will meet them in Galilee." Could this news be true? It was true. Jesus was alive. They ran as fast as they could to tell the good news to the other disciples. But Mary Magdalene had already talked to Peter and John. "They've taken away our Lord, and I don't know where they have put what they have done with his body," she cried. Peter didn't think Mary Magdalene knew what she was saying. Whatever was she talking about? "I'll run back to the tomb to see for myself," said Peter, and he and John ran to the tomb. John arrived first. He stooped to look inside and saw the linen wrappings neatly folded. Until then, he hadn't believed Jesus was alive. Mary Magdalene was walking in the garden weeping. When she returned to the tomb, still crying, she saw 2 white... Mary Magdalene was walking in the garden weeping. When she turned to the tomb, still crying, she saw 2 white-robed angels sitting at the head and foot of the place where the body of Jesus had been. "Why are you crying?" the angels asked her. "Because they have taken away my Lord," she replied, "and I don't know where to find him." Mary glanced over her shoulder and saw someone standing behind her. She was crying so hard she couldn't see who it was. Thinking it was a gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have taken him away, please tell me where you have put him." "Mary," said Jesus. She knew that there was only one voice like that. It was Jesus. He was alive. She fell at his feet and exclaimed, "Master, tell my disciples I am alive and on my way to the one who is my Father and their Father too." Mary was no longer sad and afraid. She ran through the morning sunshine to tell the disciples the good news. Filled with joy, she proclaimed, "He is alive. I have seen Jesus. He is alive."